Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I think I encountered an actual SJW in their natural environment recently. Now, I've met one before, and let me be clear, um, there are people on either side who are extremes. The haters, the turfs, the MAGAs, the anti-vaxxers, the COVID deniers, all these people are crazy. And on the extreme opposite end, the social justice warriors, the virtue signalers, the people savior complexes. They're just as bad. They're the same side of the coin, basically. They're the opposite side of the same coin, I mean. And I met one once in a store. He worked in a DVD store. I sort of talked to him, just being polite, and he'd always kind of trap me in conversations, and he wouldn't let me go. And then one time, I think he was talking about Discovery or something, or Star Wars, and he was saying how all the people who have a problem with like The Last Jedi or Discovery are all haters and they're all racist and bigots and all this. And I said, well, actually, no. I mean, some of them are, but some of them actually have issues with, what they're actually doing with the canon of the show and how they're representing Starfleet and changing, the tone of the show, this sort of stuff. And he just went off at me because, oh, you're one of them. And he just went off at me. And he practically ran me out of the store, and I was afraid to go back. And I thought, wow, that's a social justice warrior going crazy. And that's what they're like. They do damage. They're actually dangerous. They're almost as dangerous, not as dangerous, but they're almost as dangerous as the MAGAs and the turfs and all that, because they're just all about them and trying to make themselves look good and feel good because they feel like they've done the right thing. They're on the right side, and they'll fight just to be right. And they're just really scary. And so I met another one. Now, I'm having a problem with my area. There's something in my area. I need something done. The business won't fulfill what they're supposed to do. And I was just getting desperate because I don't know anyone in the area. And the only people I know who would help me live in other suburbs. And because it's a 9-to-5 problem, they work 9 to 5, they can't do it. And I just got really desperate. The only people I've talked to in the area are like customer service, like for businesses like Woolworths, and like the doctors in like another suburb. And that's really, I haven't really talked to anyone for like years. And I don't know anyone in the area. And I said, well, what can I do? And the only other people I'd talk to was the people at the library. And the library, of course, is more like a community thing. It's like a government service sort of thing, like public service sort of thing. It's the government. It's not like a private business. They're not there to make money. You sort of don't encounter those sort of selfish capitalist sort of people who are just there to make a buck and just it's all about them and profiting. I sort of thought, well, maybe one of those people might actually just help someone just because, why? Because why not? And I thought, just ask. It can't hurt. It's a bit desperate, but all they can do is say is no. So I asked the lady. Said, "Well, it's not. I wouldn't want to. It's just I work till 5, so I've got the same problem." And I said, "Well, what about next week? Because the library opens at 10, the business opens at 9. Could you do it on your way to work? Or on your lunch break or something? That's sort of what I was thinking would be possible if the shift didn't end earlier than 5, because the library's open till 8, and I thought, well, maybe they have like short shifts, like 10 till 3, and then like 4 till 8 or something. But apparently they have 9 to 5 like normal shifts, and then they have like a shorter late evening shift for people. So people basically work 9 to 5 shifts. Well, I'm actually in another area next week because they move around different suburbs. So she was there for that week, and she was going to be somewhere else the next week. So she said I could do it in the morning on the way, but I'm not in that area. I can't remember what suburb she said. She was in another suburb the next week. And they do move around. I don't know why they don't just stay in the closest library to them. But so I sort of gave up, said, okay. And she said, well, I can ask some of the other people who work here. Maybe one of them can do it, but I can't because I'm just not here next week. I said, well, that's fine. That'd be nice. And I expected that she was going to do that privately. But when I called back, because I still had to arrange pick up for some items that I had on reserve. And the person knew who I was, and she said, oh, the manager said we can't help you. And I said, why would the manager have an opinion? Because I was asking this person personally to help me as a person in the private time. I wasn't asking them as an employee of the library or as a service of the library or to do it in library hours on their time or anything. So why would the manager have any say in what they do? And she sort of agreed with me, but she just sort of stated that. And then she just went on this weird little tangent, and she was saying, oh, look, we really care and we're worried about you that you're going to do something. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I'm stuck in my house, basically. I can't do half the stuff I want to do. And no one seems to take it seriously. It's just a big joke, and no one cares if people, get sick and die or anything, because as long as it doesn't happen to them, it's only a minority of people. No one seems to care. Everyone else is just happy to be able to get back to business and, do what they want to do, and they don't care about who they have to sacrifice to do it. And she just was convinced that I was going to harm myself or something. I'm like, no, I'm fine. And she was so getting into her savior complex. She's like, oh, I feel like I have to do something. I can't. And I'm like, oh God, this woman's so crazy. She's going to have like an ambulance around here doing a self-help check on me, something like that. Because I've heard that happen to a couple of people in the building where people have come because their family members have called about them, like someone who knows that they've got problems or whatever. And it's just really, I'm really embarrassed for those people. I don't want to be that person with people knocking on my door to see if I'm okay. It's like, that's not good. So I just said, look, you are crazy. This is all about you. You don't care about me or anyone else. You're just worried. You just want attention. You just want to feel important, feel self-important. And you also, even if you did think maybe I would do something, you don't care about me doing something. You just don't want to feel bad if you don't stop it. It's all about you and you feeling good. You just leave me alone, stop harassing me. And, I basically concluded to myself that I could not go back there and get the items and that because I'd have to deal with them. But then the evening went on. I thought, I really want these items. It's like 5 DVDs and a couple of series that I really wanted, and Picard because I'm not paying for a copy of Picard, and I wanted to see the episodes properly because I hadn't seen them since I watched them, and I wanted to give them a second look at before season 3, and which is like a week away. And I said, you know what? All the people who were working there earlier will be gone because their shifts would have finished. So no one you speak to in the evening, because if you call it like 7:30 because they close at 8, they're not going to be there. So I thought, fine, I'll call it 7:30 and basically say, look, I need to pick the stuff up and that. I'll be there in like 15 minutes or whatever. And I call, and it's the same woman. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, I didn't think you would still be there. Hasn't your shift ended? Why are you still there? And she's like, oh, I'm working, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, I didn't want to speak to you. I didn't want to come back there again. And I thought I could call up tonight and I wouldn't encounter any of the people who were working during the day. And she just kept on being, herself. And I said, look, I need to pick this stuff up. And I thought she was going to give it to someone else to do. And I said, look, I will be down there in like 15 minutes. I'll call when I'm out the front. And then when I got there, she came out, and I won't tell you what colour hair that she's got, but she's a total stereotype in a bad way. And she didn't pass the items to me. She held them so she could hold me there so she could give me a little lecture. And I'm trying to socially distance. I don't want to be anywhere near her and be in her plume of, COVID breath. I'm being exaggerating, but, I just want to get the item and get back out of her space and keep my own space and social distance. And she's trying to hold me in space so she can give me a lecture about how important she is so she can virtue signal and try and get some sort of fix out of me, because it's all about her. And I just pulled the stuff out of her hand and kept walking. I didn't really hear what she said. She was trying to say something about how, I'm the only person who would have helped you, and, you should have, been nicer. I don't know what she was trying to say because I literally pulled the stuff out of her hands and just walked away. But what sort of a person? You just proved me right. You care more about holding me there and having the last say and getting, your opinion and trying to get your last little, fix than me actually socially distancing and not, you care more about yourself than me. And if I get sick from you or from me, feeling comfortable that I haven't had to be in your space or anyone else's space and have to get close to anyone to pick up my items. Because all I have to do is, get it and go out. You're back out of the space in a minute. You don't, she was trying to hold me there, and you just proved my point. You don't actually care about my health or my concerns or my anxiety. You just want the last word. You just want to virtue signal and get some sort of validation because you're the only person who would have helped me because you're so important, and so it's just made me sick. And I just wanted to do a little video talking about this because these people, I do plenty of videos about, the TERFs and the MAGAs and the anti-vaxxers and the COVID people, COVID denier people, and all these crazy people who, the people against BLM and all these people, the racists and the homophobes and bigots. And I also want to, take some time calling out the social justice warriors and, the virtue signalers and the savior complex people who are on the other side of that coin, who are just as destructive. She was just as likely to contaminate me through her breath and me being forced to be pulled into her space by her not handing over those items as me going into the store and standing next to someone or walking past someone who wouldn't wear a mask. And so she didn't care at all about me or the issue or my vulnerabilities or anything. She just wanted to be right, and she just wanted to virtue signal, and basically, it was just all about her, and it just made me sick, and I just had to comment on it, and yeah, I feel better. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Have you met a social justice warrior person in the wild? They're just as bad as the other side. They really are, and they need to be called out for it just as much.